beginning my beautiful video podcast series. And that song means so much to Vanessa and myself. So my first guest for this series is called Heart and Hustle, Women Healers, Movers, and Shakers. And we all know, I know how to shake a little bit, right? And Vanessa and I have gone back, a couple of years now?
Yeah, a couple of years.
And we went to business school together, have done lots of online work together. We've been in mastermind groups together. We've done inspirational training together, which that song has a big part.
Big, huge.
Big part. Oh my God, see, I can just cry already. In our business and our lives, our hearts, our inspiration, our motivation, our energy, well-being, self-care, self-connection, and connection with each other and connection with the work that we're doing. Mm-hmm. So in my work, as some of you know, I love to be the hostess. I am the tribal hostess. I love to bring people together, women together specifically, who are inspirational and motivational and are just, kicking ass, right? Got to shake that ass.
Attitude.
Woohoo! And, find fulfillment in the work that we do and give something great back to the world. And Vanessa has always inspired me, and she's doing incredible work as an artist, as an astrologer.
Astrologer.
And I will let you, Vanessa. I'm so happy to have you here with me.
Well, thank you for having me here.
My first one. This is so great.
This is great.
But I want Vanessa to introduce herself to you and tell you a little bit about what she does. And she has some books to show you, and we'll get you hooked up. And you'll love her just like I do. She's wise and intuitive and amazing. And her work is just, it's self-explanatory. There you go. How's that?
Right. Thank you. Okay. I got to, step into that stage now. Whenever I hear that song now, I feel like I'll forever just go.
I know. Woo!
Over it. It's sort of ingrained. So I'm an astrological coach and artist. And I live here in Portland, Oregon. And what I try to do with my work, my approach to astrology is very much a way for me to weave in all the things that I love and some of my background, and from teaching, from having a counseling degree background. So my approach to astrology is very psychological and really working with the story and the archetypes, the symbolism. And to help my clients through journeying through their birth chart, I sort of seen the birth chart as a roadmap to their lives and business. And then I weave in with the art because, I love to do artwork and all that. How I kind of art is
artwork.
Yeah, that's one in the back here, but that's an older one. What I try to do is, and art actually is what brought me back to astrology. For a few years, I wasn't really, doing astrology, if you were to think it that way. I was just sort of focusing on my counseling degree. It was very intense work. And I kind of sort of let it sort of slide a little bit just after a few years of studying it so much in depth. And it was through a chance gift that I kind of slowly got back to it. A friend of mine had a baby, and I wasn't sure what to give the baby, and so I decided to draw his birth chart.
Wow! And
immediately, my friend and her husband, when they saw, they're like, "You should sell those."
That's great.
So I started sort of like doing them for friends, but of course, when you get your birth chart, you're like, "Well, this is really pretty and nice, but what does it mean?" Mm-hmm. And so I started having the sessions again. So in some ways, it took me a long time to come out of the astrological closet, as I call it. I was using astrology, working with it, studying it, mainly for friends and those who are close to me. But so it's been a long journey of sort of coming out and kind of weaving that into a business idea. When we attended the business school together, my original thought was to make my art the business. Because at the time I was taking a lot of commission pieces. Because I work with drawing, I work with just markers and drawing. And it was doing the course that I sort of like, wait a second, what am I doing? I need to bring in the astrology. And so the idea became of weaving the two together. And the top, so far what I managed to do, and this is where my books come in, I created the coloring books that bring in astrological knowledge and art. So now people can color.
So freaking amazing. Now, is that your new one?
Oh yeah, this is the new one. This is the one, I did one earlier in the year that followed 2016. So this is a 2017 edition of the lunar mandala. So it follows the new moon and the full moon throughout the year, 2017. So it has the explanation about the new moon or full moon, a little sort of journaling prompt, and then you can color the mandala. And this time it has an extra coloring page as well, because, you know, I love coloring. And the other one I did is for the sun. So this is the sun's heroic journey. So this has all the sun signs and planets. It's a little bit like a coloring book meets journaling meets sort of a beginner's course in astrology. So I try to weave it all in there.
What a beautiful concept. And what a great way for someone to kind of get their feet wet or fingers wet.
Yeah.
Crayons wet with coloring and learning a little bit about the astrology.
Yeah. And part of my philosophy behind the books, other than the fact that I love coloring, so much of my art involves coloring, is that I want people to have a lived, sort of grounded experience of astrology. Because I meet a lot of people and a lot of clients who are like, I find astrology fascinating, but it's so complicated. And I think because, one, it's a language. And so it's like learning language. It's like learning French, and you have to kind of really get into it before you, I guess you get proficient to a certain point. But it's also very esoteric and sort of out there. So it's a way to bring it down so people can have a sense of like, oh, I see how the symbolism, it's all around me. So it really is beyond your sun sign column.
So it's because I know that you're not super woo.
No.
I happen to love a little bit of woo, but it's practical.
Yeah. Well,
so for people who've never had their chart done, what is it based on?
Well, it's funny because going back to the woo thing, I personally don't care for the expression woo. I feel I get it. I think I have woo, but I just don't say it. I have woo. I don't like the word. Because
hang out with me a little bit longer and we'll see.
I just feel like it's sort of, to me, it's as a childish term to something that's much bigger. But that's a philosophical thing. But I find astrology in many ways sort of the grandmother of all the woo practices. It's been around the block, let's just say.
But the thing is, it's based on fact.
It's based on the sort of the juxtaposition of the place where you were born, the time you were born, and in some ways that's kind of the snapshot in time and how the planetary positions were at the time you were born. So
for someone who wants to have their chart done, they need that.
They need the exact birth time. That's really key. And of course your birth date and the location of birth. And so in some ways, what I'm noticing is, because when you get a birth chart, it's not just for a person. You can do birth charts for things, events. You can do a birth chart for your business. You can do a birth chart for sort of events that happen in the world, like the election. You can get a birth chart for that. But in some ways, it takes a snapshot of sort of the planetary position. And now the real art comes in of how do we interpret those positions? What does it mean? What's that planetary dance, those archetypes mean, and how can they be manifest? So this is where all the astrologers, if you will, they're all going to bring something different to the table, because a lot of that is going to depend on their own personal development, on their own view of the world, how they balance their own ability to read these signs. So in some ways, it's very good to have different sessions of astrology and have you look at you, because it's also a language and so multi-layered. When you look at your birth chart, I often tell my clients that one session is a little bit like going to Italy and spending a day in Rome, a day in Venice, and a day in Florence, and that's it. And you get to see the main sites, and it's really great, but you didn't get to eat every gelato on the road. You didn't
get into the gelato and the experience.
So I think that's where astrology is so rich, because the more you go in and you go deeper and deeper. I mean, even my own birth chart to this day, and I'm sure by the time I'm 80 or 70, I'm going to look at it and be like, wow, I didn't think of that. It always something is coming out. That's why I think it's definitely a language. It's a bit like if you love French and you're learning, the more you go, the more you find new things about that language, and you read it with a different sort of expertise.
Well, and one of the things I loved when we were traveling recently together, you were approaching my chart for my business.
Yeah.
And it was outstanding. It was just like, wow, I had never thought of it that way. I mean, it was a whole nother way to look at what I was doing and what I needed to bring in or spread out with. And that was, I think your concept is brilliant and innovative and incredibly helpful.
Yeah, I think that came out a lot from my own experience of creating my business, because it's always much more difficult to do it for yourself because you're so involved with it. But what I realized, at least in sort of my personal journey and the people I kind of surround myself with, everybody's really keen on expressing their purpose.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I think we live in a culture that really emphasizes as well this thing of creating a career that reflects who we are, right? And so I started really, and because of the business course we did, I started really being around women who are like very keen on expressing their voice. And so I started noticing the link between their personal sort of journey and the birthing of the business. And because a lot of the people I know are the sort of, if you are the face of their business, there's coach or healers or whatever, it's so intimately linked. So I think if you don't have, because you can create the business chart, you can create the birth chart for your business, especially if you know when you registered your business and all that. But if you don't have that, maybe you're just starting out and you haven't even got to that point, you can look at your birth chart from the perspective of what I like to call your own marketing crew. They're all there. You got all these planets trying to help you out,
Oh, that's so awesome.
So before you go consulting other marketing crews, look at your chart and see, what is it trying to say? What is it trying to come through you? Because in some ways, the vision I have, and that's been kind of my experience with astrology, is that when you are born and that chart comes, is created because you were born, in some ways it's an answer. In your chart is reflected what was happening, the zeitgeist of that time of when you were born. So we carry both things that are kind of personal, but also historical in the sense that we're born in a certain time and culture. But in some ways, the chart is also an answer. Your birth is also an answer to a question or a desire that the world has. And here you are to fulfill that need. So I think that goes hand in hand with our sort of yearning to find our purpose and to live our purpose, right? So when you look at the business, when you look at your birth chart from a perspective of business, because your business is your brainchild, it has its own heroic journey, right? From idea to creation to launching. And also I have found in my own, journey is that it's a spiritual journey too. It's not just about the Benjamins. It's really, it takes it all. It's like, if you've done any therapy in your life, when you decide to birth your business, everything gets tested, right? So when you look at your birth chart from that sense, from that perspective, I like to give my clients, and I think that's what I did to you, you can look at three main things that already will help you kind of determine how aligned are you with the business you're creating. Mm-hmm. And you can get as nitty gritty as down to the colors and images you're going to use in your website. So when I have these sessions with clients, I actually go through their website. If they have a website, or if they don't, we try to bring out insights to help them. Mm-hmm. So you look at the sun. So most people know their sun sign. So the sun is sort of the essence you're becoming. You're both a Leo or a Virgo or a Gemini, and you have characteristics of that sign, but in some ways you're becoming ever more so that sign. It's the ultimate creation. The sun has a lot to do with creativity as well. So when you look at that, you think of the sun, your sun sign, as the DNA of your business. Mm. So I can't remember. I'm really bad at that. This is the fun thing. You're a Leo, right?
All the way.
So, and you were just saying, I'm a hostess. Mm-hmm. That's a Leo thing. So that's a good thing to know. That would be a keyword. If you were to do keywords about Leo and to think about your business, hosting is something that a Leo would do, one expression of Leo. So you can look at the sun as the DNA, and that will help you flesh out what is the sort of the purpose of this business, not just the why, but sort of the impulse of what is it that it's trying to become and bring forth. Then you can look at your ascendant or your rising sign, and that in some ways, in much the same way that in your own birth chart, personally, it's sort of the front door, the sort of the mask we wear to face the world. The first impression that people have of us when we meet them. You can look at the ascendant as sort of the packaging of your business. This is where it's the first instance people are going to see you. So that's your website, it's your business card, it's your social media. And so it's important to know whatever sign is on that ascendant, it's important to know what it is and what it's trying to convey. Because now it starts getting a little tricky when let's say you got Leo sun, but your ascendant is Cancer. Very different manifestation of energies as opposed to, let's say, Sagittarius rising to a sun Leo. Yeah. Oh, you're Sag. So there's a much more, it's impulse, it's international, it's, as opposed to Cancer would be much more, okay, maybe it's more about the emotions, it's much more emotional security, right? But it goes even to the colors you should be using to convey that essence, because as we know, that first impression, right? And then we look at another part of the chart that we call the midheaven, and it's the very top part of the chart. And in some ways, the midheaven, the sign that is in the midheaven, has to do with what do you want to be known for? What's the reputation you're going for? What's the legacy you want to leave? And so that informs a lot as well. In some ways, how you're even going to be strategic with your business. Let's say you're much more concerned about making people feel safe and secure. It's going to be much more intimate. It would be very different if let's say it's a Sagittarius in the midheaven and you want to be known for, you teach worldwide, very different strategies of business. Mm-hmm. So that already, just those three elements, I think really help you kind of get more grounded in it. What is it that you're trying to create? So even if it's just a t-shirt business, let's say, it already gives you some idea of like, oh, what am I going for here? Mm-hmm. And then you look at the other planets and that fleshes out even more. What are you what's the meaning? What's the culture of the company? What kind of services should you be offering? Then you get deeper into it.
I just think that is so brilliant, and it makes so much sense when, like I said, when you were doing mine, it was like, oh, well, of course, or Oh yes, I can see why I would need a little bit more of that or a little bit less of that or whatever. And I'm sure everyone out there now is dying to have you do their chart. But, so what is it? So, in the idea of heart and hustle, I mean, we as solopreneurs or creativepreneurs, entrepreneurs, we spend a lot of time creating our business, but we also have to build the business. We have to do the practical. We have to do the design, the marketing, the websites, the writing of the work, all the things that go into building the business, the email lists, the blogs. But now are you doing your daily? Are you still doing daily?
I haven't been doing it daily as much. I do it frequently enough, a sort of a post on my Facebook group or my Facebook page and Instagram.
Which is?
Oh, my Facebook group is Liminal Astrology. My Facebook page is Liminal Astro Coaching. And I think on Instagram is Liminal Astrology.
And we'll post all those links. But
yeah. So, and I also have a podcast where I tend to release it a couple of times a month. And I kind of give you the sort of the cosmic weather. And I really try to weave in sort of storytelling, because for me, storytelling is key to teaching. And again, my vision is to help you use astrology in your own life in a way that is for your personal development and in a way that makes you grow and really observe the world from a sort of a bigger perspective. Mm-hmm. See things happening as sort of like, oh, it's a whole symbolic dance. But you're right. Definitely birthing the business takes a lot of new skills that we sometimes think, gosh, I didn't know I was going to need to learn that too.
So, and part of it is we learn it on our own, and part of it is finding the right people or the right team to work with. So if you could quickly think about what's been one of the hardest hurdles that you've had to cross in building your business.
That's a really good question. Because I think along the way, there was always one that I thought, oh, this is the hardest. I can't do this. And then you do it. And then you're like, oh, I think I'm done. And then you have another one. It just keeps going.
One that pops out to me for you in particular was that you had a full-time job.
I did. That was a pretty massive.
You were doing all this creative work on the side. And then what happened?
And it really came to a point. Ideally, I really wanted to build my business in a way that I could then leave my job and then have it all set up. And it didn't happen that way because just energetically, it was just too much energy to be all day in a full-time job and then trying to get creative on the side. And it got to a point that I couldn't do it anymore. I just had to quit and be like, okay, I'm in, I'm all here. And then the website came out, podcast came out, a couple of more coloring books. So
I look at, she has only created 3 books in
this year.
Only 3, which is beautiful. Awesome.
It's really amazing. But it was a difficult decision because it's so that inner dialogue between the security and the jumping right into your own business. And
it's belief in yourself and belief in your work and the desire to put it out there.
Yeah.
And the will and the motivation. What's been the hardest part?
I think the hardest part has really been working on the confidence and trusting the inherent purpose of the business. Mm-hmm. I think all the sort of difficulties I've had around technology or this or that, they were just little sort of, they felt like huge steps, but there were steps along in building that confidence and getting the practice and really finding my voice in a way that it wasn't just the voice, but also the creative voice in my approach. What I've come to realize is that, and especially with women, because I've been seeing, most of my clients are women, is that there's a very huge healing component in birthing your business. There's something about when I ask women, oh, how did you get into this? And you can kind of hear the stories that there's some sort of challenge, if you will, that might not even been originally a business idea, but became a business idea because of that healing journey. So I think the business in some ways not only is its own entity, because it can even have its own chart as well, but it has its own healing. Our relationship with our business is a healing relationship for both. I mean, I think for both of us in a way, even though sort of esoteric to think of the business that way. But I think also the business becomes a container for us to bring in all the spokes of our wheel, if you will, in our lives.
Absolutely.
And so we may start with something that we think, oh, I just want to make money on the side, let's say. And I say that thing grows. It starts calling in every other aspect of your life.
Oh, it sure does. Oh, for sure.
Everything. So you really start seeing the relationship between personal and business in the sense that whatever stuff you're going through manifests in the business. And I think that once you kind of, let's say you register your business and then you pull up the chart of the business, because I've just had, I've been studying my own business chart now. And it's been really interesting because I could really see the definite personality of the business. So it's been an interesting philosophical dialogue within myself to look at my business as an entity. It wants something, and I'm the vehicle for that. So in many cases, I guess it's like having a child, right? It's yours, but it has its own thing. And how can we best nourish and nurture that brainchild?
While it nourishes us at the same time.
At the same time. Yeah, definitely. So it's really a dialogue. And the instrument I use is astrology as a way to understand what's happening and to help it. Of course, astrology has so much to do with cycles and sort of timing and time. So it fits in pretty well because you start understanding cycles and the patterns of cycles. And that really helps as well.
So good. So good. So show your book again.
So yeah, this is the Sun one. And let me find a page here. So the idea has kind of, it follows the same format, the explanation, and then you can do the coloring. And then on the other page here, it's sort of a zoomed in part of the mandala and then some writing reflective prompts here. This one,
and boy, do they look like tattoos.
They do. I should tattoo one of my own things.
Yeah.
And the idea I had is that, because I actually I talk a lot about the moon, and most of my posts are related to the moon. But I thought it was interesting to bring in the cycle of the sun, because even if you just know your sun sign, just by observing when the sun changes signs and looking around and seeing what's happening, you kind of start understanding, getting grounded on the symbolism of astrology and how you can sort of best apply it to your own life as well. I think it's really helpful.
So what are you offering your clients right now? What's the coaching work?
So I'm actually in the process of, after this holiday break, I want to kind of restructure some of my offers because of my own understanding now of branding and being my own lab rat for a while. Is that I've been working with other women. I until the end of this month, I'm running a beta offer for the aligned business branding. So looking at your birth chart from a business perspective. And so that has already given me a lot of ideas of what else to bring forth.
Nice.
So for next year, probably in February, I want to launch kind of like more of a group coaching with individual sessions around birthing your business, following this work that I've been doing with the beta offer. I offer individual sessions too, so people just want to check their birth chart and kind of get a gist what's going on, kind of see the cosmic weather. I do that as well.
So you do the birth charts, but then you'll take that deeper if wanted.
Yeah. So some people just want to check out their birth chart and they've never done it. It's kind of like a one-off session. I might be changing that. And then I have the separate one that I'm running now separately as the Aligned Business branding. And that's the beta that I'm running until the end of the month. And out of that one, actually, that one is not going to be an individual session. I want to make that a 3-session, because when you start working with your business, I can, things come out of that first session. So much comes out.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm still kind of restructuring that too. So I'm going to have 2 things to offer. One more on the business astrology, looking more on that side, and more sort of the consultancy around using astrology to help you with your marketing, to help you with your messaging, to really get aligned with that. And then the other more sort of personal side of astrology, of you're going through a big transformational point in your life and you want to see what's going on more on the personal side. Not everybody's having a business, setting up a business. So those 2. And I also have, there's a part where I do commission pieces. I do the birth chart drawings.
Oh, right.
That's a really nice gift to have for yourself or for somebody else. So all that. And then the coloring books, I have phone cases as well with my art. So it's creating products.
Those right there? Can you show us one? Do you have a phone case?
Oh, I do. Oh, I have to step away. It's over there. It's plugged in. I have my own phone. Hold on.
Okay. I love that. Her artwork is so beautiful and so colorful. It's really inspiring.
Yeah. This is my own.
Yeah. So good.
It's on my website. I have a shop page.
All right. So we're gonna link to your sites. So all you beautiful listeners and viewers out there can get connected with Vanessa and join her mailing list and get her blog posts and her motivational inspirations, and possibly get your charts done.
Yeah.
Get your business chart happening. And
it's great. It's great. So it's really great, especially if you're just stating an idea for a business. It's also a pretty good session to have, because you get a lot of insights, and I didn't think I could do that, or you could shift that. It's really good.
And and back to the theme of this series is that there's so much heart, there's so much personal development and desires put into birthing your business or building your business or expanding on your business, and the idea, with you and with me and what we do is to empower you, empower our clients, and to build beauty and wellness and creativity and the work that we do to help change the world, right?
Oh, definitely.
And so it's movers and shakers and healers, and it takes a little bit of heart and a little bit of hustle, and we got to do the work, but we love what we do.
Oh, definitely. It's really, it's so good when you hear from a client, it's like, oh, this really helped me, validated, or I got so much insight out of it. It's really.
So that's so great. So anyway, thank you everyone for being here. I'm Paulette Rees-Denis, Rees-Denis to get technical, at www.paulettereesdenis.com. And we'll host all of Vanessa's info for you to click on and check out. And I'm going to play a little bit of this song again, because we just have to have this. Everybody can get up and shake it a little bit. Woo! Because what we do changes the world, right? It changes us, and it changes the world.